is Kelly Garney, childhood friend of Randy Rhoads and co-founder of Quiet Riot, and you are watching DC's Daily Dose of Rock Music History.
Hey guys, I am DC, creator and host of Barside Jive, and I want to welcome you to my daily dose of rock music history. Today is Saturday, March 21st, 2020, and you are witnessing my Satisfaction Guaranteed Tour Day 47. Remember, you can check out my daily dose archives as well as my other content on my YouTube channel. Search Barside Jive Live. I am coming at you live from the Vocal Studios in North Dallas. Now let's talk some rock and roll. On this day in 1952, the Cleveland Arena is the site of what will become recognized as the world's first major rock and roll concert. With over 10,000 people inside and another 20,000 waiting outside, Alan Freed is set to broadcast the event live over WJW Radio. Paul Williams and his Hucklebuckers were playing their first song when city officials decided to shut the proceedings down, citing fire code violations. Doors and windows were smashed. A few fights broke out, but no one asked for their $1.75 admission back. Whoa. Billy J. Kramer in the Dakotas enter Abbey Road Studios on this day in 1963 to record the Lennon-McCartney tune, Do You Want to Know a Secret?, which will reach number one in the UK, topping the Beatles themselves. Whoa. On this day in 1964, the Beatles replaced one Billboard chart topper with another when She Loves You took over from I Want to Hold Your Hand. The Faces, featuring newcomers Rod Stewart and Ron Wood, released their debut LP, First Step, on this day back in 1970. Also on this day in 1970, the Jaggers, a six-piece group from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, see their first Billboard Hot 100 entry, The Rapper, peak at number 2. Two other releases, I Call My Baby Candy, number 92, and What a Bummer, number 88, couldn't crack the top 40. I love The Rapper. In fact, listen to this. The BBC banned all teeny bopper acts appearing on UK TV show Top of the Pops after a riot following a David Cassidy performance. That's right, guys, David Cassidy performance on this day back in 1973. On this day in 1976, David Bowie, Iggy Pop, and several others are arrested in New York and charged with possession of marijuana. So David Bowie did pretty much everything with style and grace that made him an international icon. Even when it came down to getting busted for weed and taking a police mugshot. He was just that good. Bowie spent the first 5 months of 1976 on the Isolar Tour in support of his 1976 full-length album, Station to Station. It's the album notorious for being recorded while Bowie was living in L.A., fueled in large part by extreme cocaine psychosis. On the night of March 20, 1976, after performing at Community War Memorial Arena in Rochester, New York, Bowie retired to the Americana Rochester Hotel for a party with Iggy Pop and some new friends. Among those new friends, Chai Wa-Su, a 20-year-old local who moved to Rochester from Hong Kong with her parents at age 11. Now a hair salon owner, Sue told the Rochester Democrat and Chronicle that she linked up with Bowie at his concert where he noticed her from the stage and passed her a note with an invite to the hotel. Also at the party were a couple of undercover female police officers working on a tip that Bowie was traveling with cocaine. While the cops never found any blow, the presence of marijuana was more than enough for the authorities to barge into the room. At 2:25 a.m. in the early morning hours of March 21st, 4 Vice Squad detectives and a state police investigator confiscated about half a pound of marijuana from the 3-bedroom hotel suite. They were held in the Monroe County Jail for a few hours. Bowie gave police his real last name, Jones, and listed his address as 89 Oakley Street, London, England, according to the Democrat and Chronicle at the time. They were charged with 5th-degree criminal possession of marijuana. The charge is a Class C felony, carrying a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison. Bowie paid everyone's bail and went right back on tour, playing that very evening in Springfield, Massachusetts. He would later return to the Rochester court on March 25th, where he would plead not guilty on drug charges. Bowie and his group ignored reporters' shouted questions and fans' yells as he walked in, except for one teenager who got his autograph as he stepped off the escalator. His biggest greeting was the screams of about a half a dozen suspected prostitutes awaiting arraignment in the rear of the corridor outside the courtroom. The singer later held an impromptu press conference in his local lawyer's office, telling reporters that the city police were very courteous and very gentle. "They've been just super," he said. The charges against Bowie and the others were eventually dismissed after a grand jury declined to indict. Here's the video taken at the press conference.
What's your reaction to the treatment that you have received in this city?
I thought I was treated very fairly. I thought everybody acted like gentlemen. Of course.
How do you feel about the police?
I just said.
Well, specifically about the police.
They were very, very kind. Very courteous.
On this day in 1981, although they had been making records for 10 years, REO Speedwagon enjoyed their first taste of success when Keep On Loving You became the top tune in the United States. The band would go on to place 12 more songs in the top 40. Yoko Ono opened Strawberry Fields on this day in 1984, an area in New York's Central Park dedicated to the memory of her late husband, John Lennon. On this day in 1987, 35-year-old Dean Paul Martin of Dino, Desi, and Billy died when his F-4 Phantom fighter jet crashed into California's San Bernardino Mountains during a snowstorm about 100 kilometers east of Los Angeles. Dino was serving in the Air National Guard at the time. His band had placed 2 songs on the Billboard Top 40 chart, I'm a Fool, number 17, and Not the Lovin' Kind, number 25, both in 1965. He was married to actress Olivia Hussey from 1971 to 1978 and to ice skater Dorothy Hamill from 1982 to 1984. His famous father, singer Dean Martin, was devastated by his son's death, telling his former partner Jerry Lewis, "I just lost one of the only 2 male loves I had in my life, him and you." Wow. Leo Fender, who pioneered the electric guitar, a guitar genius who couldn't play a note, passed away at the age of 81 on this day in 1991. He started mass-producing solid-body electric guitars in the late 40s, and when he sold his guitar company in 1965, sales were in excess of $40 million a year. His maverick approach to guitar and amplifier design changed music forever. On this day in 2001, Michael Jackson's interior decorator told the London Times that the singer keeps 17 life-size dolls, adult and child sizes, all fully dressed in his bedroom for company. John Speedy Keane, vocalist and drummer for Thunderclap Newman, died at the age of 56 on this day in 2002. The band's biggest hit came in '69 with Something in the Air. Great song. John Speedy Keane is there on the right, Jimmy McCullough on the left, and Andy Thunderclap Newman is front and center.
We have got to get it together now.
On this day in 2010, musician, songwriter, and record producer Phil Spector was allegedly beaten at a state prison in California after mouthing off to another inmate. The 70-year-old former record producer who was jailed in 2009 for murdering actress Lana Clarkson wound up with bruises, a black eye, and lost a couple of teeth. Phil wrote, co-wrote, or produced records for such acts as the Ronettes and the Crystals, and later John Lennon and George Harrison of the Beatles. Spector's other chart-topping singles include You've Lost That Loving Feeling, co-written and produced for the Righteous Brothers in '64, The Long and Winding Road, produced for the Beatles in 1970, and My Sweet Lord, produced for Harrison in 1970. The Many Faces of Phil Spector. I believe he will be out in 2025, or was it 2029? Somewhere in there. The U.S. Library of Congress announced that Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, Simon & Garfunkel's Sounds of Silence, and Chubby Checker's The Twist would all be added to the National Recording Registry as culturally or historically significant recordings on this day in 2013. And that, guys, is rock and roll and wraps my rock history lesson today, but you can wipe away those tears because there's more coming from me to you tomorrow and every day as I peel back those pages of my big-ass book of rock music history and explore the past of the rock legends on my Daily Dose of Rock Music. You can catch up on all my Daily Dose episodes as well as all of my content on YouTube. All you got to do is search Barside Jive Live. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Barside Jive. I thank you guys for hanging out with me today during my Daily Dose. Please seek every day to be a hero in someone's life, and I'll be seeing you very soon, probably tomorrow. In the meantime, peace, love, and rock and roll. All right, Boner, it's yours.
Have mercy.
Good night, Bill.
That's BarsideJiveLive.com.
You rock for the senses. Lows that evolve into highs that pierce. Feel the rock on 98.